clubhouse, and shortly thereafter became the captain of the Yankees.
5 championships later, hoping to go out with number 6, Derek Jeter is in his final season of professional baseball. So that's the Jeter aspect of this. Now, Haruki Kuroda is going to get the start. He's done this before. David Cohn will detail that when we get back right here on Yes. Start today, David, and home openers, well, he's not a stranger to that.
Well, he's not. This was in 2012, opening up for the Yankees, and he was dynamite that day. 6 strikeouts, throwing the ball everywhere he wanted to. Ended up with 8 innings of shutout baseball that particular day. He's had some big moments here at Yankee Stadium as well.
He's not a road warrior, that's for sure. He loves home cooking. Check these numbers out in the Bronx. 18-9, 2.57 in a hitter's ballpark. 170 strikeouts, walked just 47, and 220 and a third innings. So pretty good for Haruki Kuroda here at Yankee Stadium. When we come back, it's almost time for first pitch. Lineups, first pitch baseball. The home opener next, right here on Yes. Lost 2 out of 3 to the Astros in the first series of the year, and then they took 2 out of 3 from the Toronto Blue Jays this weekend. No off days, 13 straight days in a row coming out of the gate from spring training, and this is the beginning of a 3-series homestand. You've got 3 against the Orioles, 4 against the Red Sox, and then 2 against the Chicago Cubs. An opening day at home is always a big deal, guys. But, David, there's something extra special this year because this is Jeter's final opening day.
Well, it is Jeter's final opening day, and really to Derek, it's more about missing last year's opening day, and that's what he's talked about more. And he's always going to deflect, Kenny, as you know with Derek. He's not going to like all the attention on himself. His comment was, hey, I missed last opening day. That's what this one's about. But nonetheless, this is the last time you're going to see that guy on an opening day at Yankee Stadium.
Now, it's going to be a very special first pitch ceremony because what the Yankees have done is they have reunited the core 4. And by now you know who those 4 people are. Mariano Rivera, Jorge Posada, Andy Pettitte, and Derek Jeter. And before the game, Derek said, I can't remember the last time we were all together on a field at the same time. I've seen all of them recently, but I haven't been together. Let's go now to the public address announcer at Yankee Stadium, Paul.
Today, the Yankees are excited to have 2 very special ceremonial first pitches. Throwing out one pitch is the man who is the Yankees' all-time strikeout leader and ranks 3rd on the Yankees' all-time wins list. Throwing out the other pitch is the man who pitched in more games in Yankees history than anyone else and is Major League Baseball's all-time saves leader. Together, no 2 pitchers combined for a win and a save in the same game more than the 72 times that these 2 Yankees did. And later tonight, they will be honored together at the New York Yankees homecoming dinner with the 2014 Pride of the Yankees Award. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back number 46, Andy Pettitte, and number 42, Mariano Rivera. And ladies and gentlemen, doing the catching honors, number 2, Derek Jeter, and number 20, Jorge Posada. Once more, the core 4. Wonderful memories, and for the 5 world championships you won together in pinstripes.
Well, 2 of the core 4 have a little snow on the roof, and one of the core 4 doesn't have any snow on the roof, and then there's Derek Jeter, but it's good to see the 4 of them together.
It was special, you know, and that was a little dangerous because cutter from the left side from Pettitte and cutter from the right side from Mariano. It could have got dangerous there for the catchers.
That's the way to start breaking it down, David.
Well, it's so weird seeing them throw out the first pitch when they could both clearly still pitch in the big leagues. Andy Pettitte's final game last year in Houston. it was a complete game victory, and Mariano Rivera had one of his better seasons last year as well, but they decided that it was time to go. And that's what Derek Jeter decided as well on February 12th, and one of the most asked questions, Kenny, at least I've been asked this a lot, well, will he change his mind? And I asked Derek directly, well, if you hit 350, will you change your mind? He said, listen, a lot of people ask me that. I expect to have a good year. I'm not expecting to have a bad year. If I have a good year, I'm still retired.
I think in much of the same way that Mariano last year, when he announced it's going to be his final season, he went out and had a good year, 43 saves. And I think Derek would like to have the hitter's equivalent of that for the Yankees this year at shortstop.
All right, so the Yankees have taken the field to begin the 2014 home season. They come in with a 3-3 record, and this is Buck Showalter's starting lineup for the Orioles. David Lowe, the left fielder, will lead off, batting second, and playing right field, Nick Markakis. Adam Jones in center field will bat third. Cleaning up the first baseman, Chris Davis. Matt Wieters will catch. He'll bat fifth. Nelson Cruz, the DH, will hit sixth. Batting seventh and playing second base, Steve Lombardozzi. The shortstop is Ryan Flaherty, hitting eighth. And Jonathan Scope is the third baseman, and he is going to bat ninth.
And for the home opener, it's going to be Hiroki Kuroda getting the start for the New York Yankees. He's 2-3 in his career against the Baltimore Orioles. And he's made one start. That came in Houston. He actually pitched very well against the Astros. Not much in the way of run support. And he came away with the loss. Opponents hitting just 143 against him. Let's check out our pitcher's scouting report. Brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. I mentioned run support. Hiroki Kuroda got tagged with the loss. He only allowed 2 runs in 6 innings at Houston. The 29th loss of his career in which he's allowed 3 or fewer runs. It's the most since 2008 of any pitcher in the big leagues. The good old days. Last year he pitched very well in day games. He's done that for the Yankees. Here at Yankee Stadium, 18 day starts. He is 10-3. And last year he had 9 starts during the course of the season in which he did not give up a run. And that was the most in the American League.
Let's check out the defense behind Kuroda, and it's presented now, as always, by our good friends at Geico. The Yankees have Brett Gardner in left. Jacoby Ellsbury is in center, and Carlos Beltran over right. In the infield, it's Jan Hervis Solarte at third. Derek Jeter at short. Brian Robertson second. Kelly Johnson, the first baseman. Brian McCann behind the plate. And Hiroki Kuroda is on the mound. Middle of a tough stretch to start the season for the Yankees. As we mentioned, 13 straight games out of the gate. Usually you have an off day after every opener that you play in, but both of the first 2 series were played in dome stadiums. You didn't have to back up for a rainout, and the schedule makers didn't do that here at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees play again tomorrow afternoon against the Orioles. So their first day off will be Monday, a week from today. There's Carlos Beltran, his first game in pinstripes. Same thing with Jacoby Ellsbury and Brian Roberts as well. Kelly Johnson, Solarte, and behind the plate, Brian McCann. So a lot of new Yankees. Lowe is ready. Kuroda is ready. And let's do it here in the Bronx. The first pitch is low, and we are underway. Tim Timmons is the home plate umpire. He'll call balls and strikes.
This is one of the Orioles' new players, David Lowe, acquired in a trade with Kansas City. The Orioles sent Danny Valencia, a right-handed hitter, to the Royals.
And Buck Showalter said that they really like Lowe. They would like him to kind of establish himself as a permanent leadoff guy at the top of this Oriole lineup.
The 1-1 pitch.
Now, there were years when the Orioles didn't have to worry about that leadoff spot, but that premier leadoff man is now playing second base for the Yankees, Brian Roberts. Lowe, as you might expect, has pretty good speed. He's a good defender out in the outfield. Had a pretty good year for Kansas City. In 96 games, he had 286.
Derek Jeter gets the bleacher creature chant. Signals to the crowd, and they cheer again. 1-2, swung on and missed. Low down on strikes. Hey, let's look at the game time weather presented by Bigelow Tea. It's a chilly day for sure. Obviously overcast, the lights are on. 51 degrees, 41% humidity. Not much wind, but there's a chance of late showers, maybe about 4 o'clock. So hopefully the game would be over by then. We'll see if it holds up. Rest of the week is supposed to be beautiful weather. Here's Nick Markakis. Orioles come in at 2-4. And yesterday, they won a game to snap a 4-game losing streak.
It was their #1 starter, Chris Tillman, who beat Justin Verlander in Detroit. Good matchup.
You know, Tillman's really establishing himself as the leader of that Orioles staff. Coming off a good year last year as well.
Right in on the hands and line down the right field line. It's a base hit. It goes to the wall. Beltran fields. And moving to second with a double is Nick Markakis. Yankees baseball is available in Spanish by hitting the SAP button on your television. SAP is brought to you by Infinity. You might notice when I gave you the Oriole lineup, the absence of J.J. Hardy. He's not on the DL, but he has been experiencing back spasms, lower back, and the cold weather not helping matters, so he is not playing today.
And the Orioles move Ryan Flaherty over to the shortstop position, which has been well manned by Hardy over the last few years.
And a strike. Adam Jones last year, 33 home runs, 108 runs batted in. A premier center fielder, one of the key players in the Oriole lineup.
Both of those totals that Michael mentioned are career highs for Davis. I should say Jones. Got one batter ahead of myself. Michael mentioned that Adam Jones, one of the better outfielders in the league. In fact, he had more home runs and more runs batted in than any outfielder in the league last year.
Well, McCann and Kuroda having trouble coming to an agreement. Remember, there's a man on second base, so they changed the signs.
You know, we saw this a little bit with Sabathia and Sabathia's most recent start, and this is good. You get a Kuroda's a veteran guy, has a very clear idea of how he wants to go about it. And McCann, obviously a veteran catcher as well. McCann really noted for his signal calling in Atlanta, one of the best around. Really has an idea how to set up hitters and sets up well, frames exceptionally well. Defensively, one of the better catchers around, as people more note him for his offense.
The 1-1. Foul back. Well, since 2008, according to Baseball Prospectus, Brian McCann is the best pitch framer in baseball, followed by Jose Molina, Jonathan LaCroix, Russell Martin, and Ryan Hannigan.
Yeah, and when you should explain what a pitch framer is. It's a catcher who really just sees the ball quietly, not too much body movement, and it gives the umpire a really good look, and you can steal some strikes on close pitches.
1-2. Fly ball center field. Ellsbury will make the play for the second out. That'll bring up Chris Davis.
Here's our Jeep hitter scouting report on Chris Davis, who had a really big year last year for the Baltimore Orioles. He had a club record 53 home runs. He broke Brady Anderson's record way back in 1996. Brady had 50, but 53 blew by that. He's got power to all fields. This is one of the strongest hitters in the league, and he finished third in the MVP balloting last year, and behind Miguel Cabrera and Mike Trout.
Now, the power numbers went down in the second half of the year. And many theories, he was tired. The league started to pitch him tougher. We'll see if he picks it up. But Buck Showalter said you can't expect him to hit 53. He said, so if he hits 37 home runs this year, you're going to say he has a bad year. He said that's not fair either. 37 is an outstanding year.
Well, he led the league in runs batted in with 138. And if he can lead the league in runs batted in, you can drive in runs with singles and doubles as well. That last pitch was a good splitter. Davis is a good low fastball hitter. Kuroda went lower than low, got him to chase it.
The 0-1. 1-1.
Really what it comes down to, Kenny, as you know, as a great hitter you are, from a pitcher standpoint, trying to promote bad contact off the end of the bats. And from a hitter standpoint, especially with Davis, it's just getting good balls to hit and laying off of those splitters down and out.
You mentioned the bad contact. That's what happened to Adam Jones in the previous outing. He hit a fly ball to center, but it was off the end of the bat and couldn't drive it. You know, I mentioned run support in my scouting report on Kuroda. And David, I will tell you, and I think you'll agree as a pitcher, sometimes it's not how you pitch, it's when you pitch. And Kuroda's pitched very well over the years for the Yankees, but there are days where the team just doesn't score that many runs. He's one of the pitchers in the league that gets the lowest amount of run support.
2-1. Grounded to first. Kelly Johnson is there. Beats Davis to the bag, and that'll do it here in the first. No runs to hit, no errors, and one man left. Orioles nothing, and the Yankees coming to bat. In the top of the first, now it's the Yankees' turn against Ubaldo Jimenez, and the Yankees starting lineup presented by Lexus. Brett Gardner in left field will lead off. The captain, the shortstop, Derek Jeter, bats second, batting third, and playing center is Jacoby Ellsbury. Carlos Beltran's in right field, he'll clean up. Batting fifth and catching, Brian McCann. Alfonso Soriano, the DH, will bat sixth. Batting seventh and playing second base, Brian Roberts. Kelly Johnson, the first baseman, hits eighth. Batting ninth and playing third base, Jan Hervis Solarte.
On the mound for Baltimore, former Cleveland Indian right-hander Ubaldo Jimenez. He's 30 years old. Took a loss against the Boston Red Sox in his opening start of the year. That was down at Camden Yards in Baltimore. He's got pretty good stuff. You look at his numbers. Let's go to the pitcher scouting report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. A late addition. The Orioles signed him just before the beginning of spring training, along with a DH and left fielder Nelson Cruz. He is a man of steel. S-T-E-A-L. The last 4 years, he's given up the third most steals in baseball. A.J. Burnett is one of the two pitchers ahead of him. And 213, the strong second half. 13 straight starts to end the season of 3 runs or fewer, and that made him a very attractive free agent, and the Orioles signed him.
Let's check out the defense behind Ubaldo Jimenez, and it's presented by Geico. You've got Lowe in left, Jones in center, Markakis over right. Infield, it's Scope, Flaherty, Lombardozzi, and Davis third to first. Wieters behind the plate, and Jimenez is on the mound. All right, so here's Brett Gardner. Brett, the only home run for the Yankees on their 6-game road trip. Shows bunt and takes a strike.
I mentioned the man of steel because the Yankees have been stealing bases. They maybe 1 home run, but 8 stolen bases without being caught in those 6 games.
Ground ball to first. Davis to the bag, 1 away, and that'll bring up Derek Jeter.
Now batting for the Yankees, number 2, Derek Jeter. Number 2.
Jimenez deals. There's a strike.
Nice gesture by the home crowd. Everybody rising to their feet for Jeter's initial at bat of the season. The home opener.
Now, Jeter definitely could have had that go longer if he stepped out, but you could see he wanted to just start playing baseball, got in the box, but the crowd was standing and cheering, and he just wanted Jimenez to pitch.
The last time I heard a chant like that during the game was Paul O'Neill's big serenade back in the playoffs in his last game here.
That was 2001. It was at Game 5 of the World Series against the Diamondbacks. Derek was asked about a comment that Joe Torre once made, that Derek doesn't make the moment too big. He doesn't look at something and get too geeked about it. And Derek said, well, I'm like everybody else. He said, I get excited. He said, I just don't let you see. He said, but inside I have butterflies and big moments. Swing and a miss. Jeter down on strikes.
One thing you'll notice about Jimenez, from the windup, he's got a very funky delivery. Makes the ball, it's all arms and legs. He's tall enough to begin with, and got a good fastball to the outside corner there to strike out Derek Jeter. Watch the motion. Arms, legs, everything moving. You got to find the ball there somewhere.
He kind of wraps that arm around the back of his backside there, you know, and really that's when he turned it around last year, Kenny. They were trying to change his mechanics, change his arm swing, and they said, the heck with it, go back to your old way. And that's when he started letting it go again and got some velocity back. And this is what I got, this is my style, and I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, he did help Cleveland get to the playoffs. He went 4-0 in September with a 1.09 ERA, and that made him an American League Pitcher of the Month.
Yeah, it's strange. Ellsbury, one of the big free agent signings by the Yankees, but he's been able to fly under the radar because it's all been about Derek Jeter's final season, and so many other stars came as well with Tanaka and Beltran and McCann. So he's getting almost an easy slide into the Yankees situation when all eyes would be on him otherwise, and that might end up paying off for him.
Well, Derek Jeter's act has been playing a lot longer on Broadway, let's put it that way.
The 2-1. 2-2.
Ellsbury kind of came alive up in the series in Toronto, had 7 hits against the Blue Jays. Been primarily a leadoff hitter. He led all of the leadoff hitters in hits last year. Here's Brian McCann, who'll be batting 5th today.
It'll be interesting to see how Ellsbury's power translates into this Yankee Stadium ballpark as opposed to Fenway. And certainly a few years ago had 30+ home runs in an MVP caliber type year, and then I think just 11 last year. And somewhere in the middle there, I think you can expect a power boost from Ellsbury, especially at home.
That one is a fly ball to left field, and right there is low, and that'll do it as the Yankees go down in order. 1, 2, 3. We're going to go to the second here at the stadium. Yankees nothing and the Orioles nothing. To keep the conversation going, it will be difficult to keep 4 players on one team, 4 great players on one team. Now, Andy Pettitte did have 3 years when he went to the Astros. That was because he just wanted to go home, but he did end up coming back. But the ability to keep stars, one team, 4 guys, I don't know if you can afford that anymore, David.
Yeah, I mean, it is rare. Even seeing one player like Jeter, a la George Brett, Cal Ripken, play his entire career, especially a career that spans 20 years just in one spot, is going to be a rarity, much less 4 guys.
Matt Wieters will lead off, and the Yankees will go into their shift as Solarte moves over to the right side, and Derek Jeter moves about 25 feet from third base. Yankees did a lot of shifting in the first 6 games.
Wieters has hit well here at Yankee Stadium over the years. He comes in pretty hot. He's got a 6-game hitting streak. You saw his batting average at .368. So at least for the first week, he's gotten off to a decent start.
Well, one thing all of these dramatic shifts are going to do, if you get a good look at Wieters here, that all the defensive metrics, Kenny, that are out there, the saber metrics, is really going to be thrown off because a lot of these metrics do not take into account defensive placement.
High fly ball left field. Gardner makes the play.
Nor do they take into account how hard the ball's hit. So, you know, in terms of range finder and range factor, trying to determine, you know, the range of a defensive player and how many balls he gets to. You know, all of these new metrics that are part of the equation of WAR really do not take into account how hard the ball's hit or where the defensive positioning is. So with all these dramatic shifts, there's going to have to be some adjustments at some of these sabermetrics with regard to defensive metrics.
There's going to be a new normal.
Here's Nelson Cruz and a strike. Cruz, a free agent, signed a one-year deal with the O's. Again, late, just like Jimenez. And the Orioles just weren't getting any traction in Baltimore during the offseason. They finished tied with the Yankees last year with 85 wins in the East, and they didn't make any additions. And they also traded away their closer, Jim Johnson, and it didn't seem like they wanted to improve. And then they went out and spent a great deal of money on Jimenez and then Cruz, and the city got excited again, and so did the members of the team.
You know, they waited so late, and because the prices of these players came down. You know, Cruz signed a one-year deal, and I can see his thinking. He wants to have a good year, you know, hit a friendly ballpark in Baltimore. He's already hit 2 home runs there, and maybe get back out on the market again.
Now, he was a real find and a perfect fit for the Orioles in the middle of this lineup in that ballpark. I think Jimenez was a little bit of a surprise, a $50 million 4-year deal, when Irving Santana was still sitting out there.
Grounded up the middle and through for a base hit. Nelson Cruz with a single. Fans, follow every Yankees game all season long with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. At Bat brings you baseball wherever you are with live look-ins, instant replay, scores, stats, highlights, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, live pitch-by-pitch tracking, classic games, and more. Download this award. Yankees.com today. Here's Lombardozzi.
Lombardozzi came over to the Orioles just at the tail end of spring training. A deal with the Detroit Tigers. Both teams had a need. The Orioles are struggling at second base. And Alex Gonzalez, the veteran shortstop, was in Orioles camp. Tigers, Jose Iglesias is injured, maybe out for the whole season. They make a deal. Gonzalez now playing short for Detroit. He's already paid off with a game-winning RBI. Tigers, Jose Iglesias is injured, maybe out for the whole season. They make a deal. Gonzalez now playing short for Detroit. He's already paid off with a game-winning RBI. Jose Iglesias is injured, maybe out for the whole season. They make a deal. Gonzalez now playing short for Detroit.
Cruz leads off first, held there by Kelly Johnson. Cruz leads off first, held there by Kelly Johnson. Cruz leads off first, held there. And the 2-0. Fly ball, right center. On the run is Ellsbury. He'll make the play. Forgetting how many outs there were is Nelson Cruz. They're going to double him up. And they do. Cruz just took off. And Buck Showalter cannot be too pleased. No runs a hit, no errors because of the double play. Nobody left on base. There he goes. And there he goes. We go to the bottom of the second.
Well, there's Buck Showalter, and he's probably wondering what happened there. You know, he's talking to Delman Young, and Delman did. How many? You know there was one out, didn't you?
You know, Buck's really famous for that. Throughout the game, he'll storm up and down the dugout, and he'll challenge guys to make sure you're into the game. He'll talk strategy, as he's doing right there with Delman Young. Likes to keep everybody involved throughout the course of the game, and anybody who's sitting on the bench, you got to be ready.
Did you ever get that treatment, David?
We did, actually. Back in '95, I got that treatment with Buck. Actually sitting with Jack McDowell. Jack McDowell and I were talking about something completely different. I think we were talking about UFOs and whether we believed in UFOs. And Buck Showalter came down to us and said, "Hey, what are you guys talking about?" And we told him. We asked him if he believed in UFOs. And Buck said, "Wait a minute, I'll get back to you." And he walked down the end of the dugout. About 5 minutes later, he came back. Said no.
And how about you and Jack? Did you believe in him?
Yeah, Jack McDowell, Black Jack, the Yankee pitcher in '95, and I voted yes. We do believe in UFOs. Buck's vote was no. Get your head back in the game.
Count 2-1 on Beltran. I'm sure this is the day that Beltran's dreamed about for a while. He's wanted to be a Yankee for a long, long time. When he became a free agent that first time, ended up signing with the Mets. The night before, his agent came to the Yankees and said, Carlos will go to the Yankees for less money than he's taking from the Mets. And the Yankees just didn't have a fit that year, so he ended up signing with the Mets and had a nice run there. And this time, the stars aligned, and the Yankees signed him to a free agent deal. And he ends up walking.
Been a good player for a very long time. Going back to his, I remember his rookie season in 1999 with the Kansas City Royals, Rookie of the Year in the American League.
Yeah, if you think about it, the Royals had a great outfield back then. Think about Beltran in center, and Johnny Damon was part of that outfield, and Jermaine Dye. All three outfielders had to be traded at some point. And that was kind of the downfall of the Royals back then, is when they traded each one of those individual outfielders, is who they chose in return, who they got back in those trades. Kind of the difference between them and the Rays and what they've done.
Brian McCann pops it up. And Wieters makes the play.
You see one thing about these shifts with the left-handed hitters at the plate. Now remember, either the third baseman or shortstop are going to be playing at the shortstop position. It's going to place more pressure on the catchers on foul balls over towards the third base dugout, because it's a long run for either the shortstop or the third baseman to come this far to make the play. It's difficult for the catchers to make that play to begin with, and you might see during the course of the year a ball or two fall in that it should have been caught with normal defense.
Here's Alfonso Soriano. Struggled on the opening road trip, just one hit, just a bloop single. So still trying to find it up at the plate. Says he's not worried.
One thing Alfonso's been doing, he's been chasing pitches out of the zone. With 2 strikes, he gets a little too anxious, chasing that slider down and away. You have to lay off those pitches, fight yourself back into counts, then you get better pitches to hit. Now, right now, he's got a good hitter's count. 2 balls and no. It hasn't been that way for the first week. It's always been 1-2, 0-2. You
know, Soriano, a traditionally slow starter, and especially this year, came into camp with the flu right out of the gate in spring training. It took him a long time.
But he's the type of guy, as we saw last year. What do you do? Driving 50 runs in 58 games with the Yankees?
He was lightning in a bottle for the Yankees after the trade.
3 infielders on the left side for Soriano. Count 3-0. Taking. Count 3-1. Well, combined with the Yankees and the Cubs last year, 34 home runs, 101 runs batted in. And he walks. So first and second, 1 man out. And that's going to bring up Brian Robertson. This is probably a little odd and weird and strange for Brian Roberts, who came up through the Oriole organization. Really well-liked Oriole player for the longest time, but left as a free agent.
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw him before the game, and he's standing in the Yankee dugout. Oh, a whole different perspective on this side of the field.
You note the high on-base percentage and the low average, as Brian Roberts can really eyeball some walks as well. Very disciplined.
Roberts' last 4 years with the Orioles, injury plagued, could not stay on the field. Sometimes couldn't even get on the field. And when his 4-year deal was up, which was a big money deal, $10 million a year, the Orioles weren't going to offer him that kind of money. Neither did the Yankees, and he wasn't sure if the Orioles really wanted him back. They didn't make that big push, and when the Yankees came forward, he said, let me sign there. 13 years with Baltimore, 2-time All-Star, and one of just 5 players in Major League history with 3 seasons of 50 or more doubles.
From my standpoint, from what I understand, they didn't even make him an offer during the winter, so that kind of told him that, take his services somewhere else.
And he swings and misses and down on strikes.
Boy, Jimenez really reared back on that one. 95 miles an hour, right on by Roberts.
Now, here's a guy who 1 year won 19 games for the Colorado Rockies. That's not easy to do, pitching at altitude. You can see that pitch was almost right down the chute, but he had so much on it that Roberts couldn't catch up with him. This inning is kind of a microcosm of Ubaldo Jimenez. He's walked 2 guys and he struck 1 out. He can be all over the place.
Here's Kelly Johnson. Yankees think his swing translates to this ballpark, and they can see some power from him as he takes a strike. He has transitioned over to first base. Coming into the season, he played 4 games there in his career, but Yankees really don't have a backup first baseman to Teixeira, so Johnson doing the honors. And so far, he's done a good job over there.
Yeah, he can move very well. He's a rangy player, so I think his skills will translate well over to first base.
One and two.
Sort of eerily similar to last year with Lyle Overbay at first base with the injured Teixeira out, and no real right-handed bat complement yet. As the Yankees found out last year, that was probably a real weak spot for them, even though Lyle Overbay did a great job, but he kind of got exposed against left-handed pitching. Yeah,
Overbay more of an accomplished first baseman, though. That's been his position.
Swing and a miss, so Ubaldo Jimenez really dialed it up with runners on first and second, striking out Roberts and Johnson. And the Yankees strand 2. We're going to the third. For the New York Yankees here in the Bronx. So Ubaldo Jimenez worked into and out of trouble with 2 walks and then 2 strikeouts. And now Hiroki Kuroda back on the mound. He'll face 8, 9, and 1 in the Oriole order, starting with Ryan Flaherty. Shift is on. 3 infielders on the right side. Now, throughout the season, we're going to try to bring back former teammates of Derek Jeter, and we're doing that right now. Joining us in the booth is Billy Crystal. You're a longtime teammate of his, Billy.
Yes, it lasted 1 at bat.
How was that?
I was a 6-pitch teammate.
Was he a good teammate?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He got me the gig. I mean, he was a big part of it. So.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to see all of you.
Good to see you. Opening day here at the stadium. 1-1 count on Ryan Flaherty. And the pitch foul back. What do you think of this Yankee team?
It's an interesting team so far. I thought the pitching looked great. And then I didn't know who was in the infield a couple of games. And I thought if Bob Shepard was here, and I wish he was, how would he pronounce Yangervis Sorate? I think.
The 1-2. Swung on a miss. Flaherty down on strikes. Did you talk to the team at all before the game?
No, I got here. I got here a little bit late, and I just got up there. But you know what the thrill of the day is? First of all, it's great to see the ballpark, and of course, it's impossible that this is his last opening day. It just seems impossible. But Yogi is up in the booth.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic to see him. That is the Yankees.
Here's Jonathan Scope. Now, I'm one of the people lucky enough to have seen 700 Sundays on Broadway. And, I mean, for a guy with a black heart, I cried. I mean, I got choked up. It was so beautiful. And now everybody's going to get a chance to see it on HBO.
April 19th. I couldn't be... fouls it down the third base line. So you have to be a little bit
I like it.
Yeah,
David, jump in whenever you want. April 19th. I reached a point where I said to myself, I don't know if I want to do it anymore. I love doing it. It was so complete, our last Broadway run, and then HBO came to us and said we'd love to make a movie of it. And I said, perfect. And that way, everyone who didn't have a chance to see it can see it, and those who did see it would like to see it again. And mostly, like, for my kids and my grandkids, they'll have a permanent record of the show.
How do you think it came out?
I love it. I think it's beautiful. It's very intimate. It feels like you have the best seat in the theater. Because, when you're in the theater, it's from a certain point in the orchestra, you're not going to, and in the balcony, of course, you're not going to catch every little nuance in my face or, feel up close to it. And Des McAnuff, who directed the show and the special, did a beautiful job in moving the cameras into places that I think it feels like a really intimate performance of the show.
So, Billy, I understand this is about your life experiences, correct?
Yes, it's from literally my birth until today.
How did you feel kind of reliving everything?
Well, Kenny, I've done 450 something of them, you know. So it was at times a very cathartic, very funny, very touching experience. And then it became very joyful this last run because the audiences were so phenomenal, and we sold out every night. And it's just me and 1,500 people, and I like the odds. And it was actually thrilling this last time.
Here's David Lowe as Kuroda struck out 2. Now, it's from birth to today, so there's going to be some late edits to get us in.
I can only stay a little bit.
Yeah. 6 pitches.
We owe 1.
You know, when that happened, David was there, awfully kind to me. When I got back to the dugout, everyone kept saying, 6 pitches, man, 6 pitches. That was the coolest thing.
You know what it is? It's longer than the average.
It was a quality at bat. He fouled one off, too. He got wood on the ball.
There's a lot of general managers pay a lot of money for hitters that can stay up there a long time and run a pitch count.
It was no joke. It was a real spring training game. You know,
Yeah.
It wasn't like fantasy camp.
That's true. It was for me.
It was Paul Maholm, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Paul Maholm.
Yeah, he's pitching for Pittsburgh.
I think he's with the Dodgers now.
Yeah.
There's a ground ball to first. Billy, it is always great to see you. And is Billy going to stay with us? All right, Billy, can you stick around? Can you stick around? All right, cool.
Yeah. If you want to be in my show,
Yes.
you have to let me stay.
Wes, he's staying the whole show, everybody. The whole game. Bottom of the 3rd inning. There is no score. Let's go back to Billy Crystal's Major League career. Want to do the play-by-play?
So that's what you show? Show the one when I found it. Well, I gave a good fist bump. See? I'm a good hugger.
Now, Maholm actually threw you a cutter for the last
Threw
out,
me a
right?
cutter, yes.
That's just not right.
No,
Not
it's
right.
No.
Did you feel overmatched? Did you feel, I mean, was your heart beating so hard? I mean, what was it like?
No, it was the weirdest thing. I had really trained very hard with Reggie Smith out in L.A. I was hitting off college pitchers who were throwing like low 80s and mid 80s, so I knew the speed. But listen, it's 59 years old. It's 1 o'clock. The sun is where it is, you know, and it's just a major league game. So I felt okay. I saw the pitches. I fouled one off, and that was it.
Were you afraid of being hit?
No, because he knew that I'd sue.
Very litigious. The Audi A3 scoreboard, 0-0. Here on Yes. What's the difference between, I don't know if you have nerves on Broadway and nerves walking into that batter's box?
No, nothing like walking into the batter's box.
Really?
Yeah, because that's, no matter what, that's an away game for me.
Yeah. Even with the pinstripes on.
Yeah. I mean, the Broadway, I know my lines. I don't know what he's going to throw. It was, you know, it's the thing that I found out, Dave, that was really interesting was the silence until the pitch comes, because of the way the helmet fits, and you know, it's on you covering one ear, and then it's that suddenly at the last minute, and then it's the thud in the glove where you go, ooh.
When you're hitting, you really have to focus on the pitcher. It's only you got to put yourself in your own world. The same sort of thing when you're doing lines and doing a movie.
Yeah. I think so, because you really have to only see him.
And you got to be that character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I knew that he was pitching, once it all happened, I went on the Pittsburgh Pirates home website, and there's Maholm, because he was going to start, and he's striking out Barry Bonds on the website. I'm going, well, I got a chance.
Yeah.
But I looked for his release point, because he was like a short arm. He wasn't a big extension on his pitch. So I looked for it, and there it was. It was the thrill of a life.
So Larde walks, and here is Brett Gardner. Now we know you do a great Rizzuto. You want to do a Rizzuto for this batter?
Holy cow. You know the thing about Gardner, Mike, is he takes the ball high. Well, everything's high to this guy. Look at this. The thing about Gardner is his neck starts at the top of his head. His ears just interrupt his neck. My kind of player. You know, I was warmer at the Super Bowl. They had a soup there that day. Line drive base hit. There's Salati on his way to third. No throw.
This is taking me back to my childhood. Keep going.
But anyway, they make it. I didn't know whether it was a gumbo or whether it was a chowder or something, but oh, was that good. That was good.
Oh, you're making me cry.
I called my friend in Teaneck, Nino Finoli, and I said, I'm gonna get some of this home for you. And he said, don't bother, the wife made gravy.
Now, Phil, here's a guy who plays your position, Derek Jeter.
I'm not familiar with him. You see a new kid?
First and third, nobody out. Yankees threatening here in the bottom of the third inning. The whole gang along with Billy Crystal in the booth here on Yes. The home opener at Yankee Stadium. And the pitch. Foul back.
I got it. Oh, sorry.
Jeter said what made this special, in addition to it being his final home opener, is that he didn't get to play in last year's home opener.
And here he is with a chance to drive in the first run at home this season.
Billy, did you say you saw Yogi over in the owner's box?
Yes.
Yogi's here today.
Yogi's here today.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
The 0-1. Grounded right back to Jimenez. There's one. There's two, and a run scores. So Solarte crosses with the first run. No RBI for Jeter. And the Yankees lead 1-0.
Ball stroked well, but right back at Jimenez, who gets the glove up in time. He took one brief look at Solarte, then decided, well, I'll go for two. In a way, he's trusting his teammates to score him some run. He knew he was going to give up a run here. Watch the pressure that Gardner puts on Flaherty. Whoa. Second base, he goes in there very hard. Flaherty flipped, but he got the throw off in time because he watched that on Yes Mo.
Clean play. Good hard slide.
Here's Ellsbury. Billy, if you could push a button. Now, you've had a phenomenal career in entertainment.
Yeah.
Well, hit that button or hit the button of being a star baseball player? Which button would you push?
Life's been pretty good to me. One road trip. Can I do that? Can I bargain with it?
Swing and miss.
Yeah, by the time you're in your late 30s, you got to remember you're just about done as a baseball player.
I was interviewed the other day for the stuff for the show. And someone, if there was one time in someone else's life, what would you trade for? And I said Derek Jeter, 1996. To be, what was he, 20?
Yep.
20 and the Yankee shortstop, and you hit a home run.
And you win the World Series.
And you win a World Series.
Yeah.
Rookie of the year.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to Miss Universe.
That's a whole nother show.
Yeah. And I said on Letterman, I was on Letterman on Friday, that I'm worried about him when he retires because now he'll only date nines.
Count 2 and 2.
But you know, we've been fortunate to be friends. Joe Torre introduced us way back then, and he's never changed his personality from that time to this. And such a wonderful base hit right field. He's been on fire. Ooh, get back.
Big turn.
In such a wonderful, respectful way for the game, and the way he leads his life, and his devotion to his foundation and his family. He's you kids at home. There's very few like him.
He had a great line today. Jack Curry asked him, you know, Joe Torre once told me that after your rookie year, he said, listen, rookie of the year, you won the World Series, all this is coming to you. Don't let it get to your head. Don't let it affect how you do things. And Derek said, but he never told you the second part of the story. I told him the same thing. Here's Carlos Beltran.
You know, David will remember, I hope, when Joe and I was such good friends, and he would let me come out and work out with the team. many times right before World Series games, before the series would start. And I remember I was on the field with you, and I was in the batter's box in the old ballpark, and I hit a nice shot to left, and you said to me, "That's off the wall at Fenway."
It's true.
And Derek would always stay after and take infield with me and turn double plays with me.
You know, Billy, I always felt, that it helped our team when you were around, or we'd have big stars around that would, especially in big games during postseason, and just made you feel the moment a little more as a ball player. It made you feel like you were center stage, especially in the old ballpark. And of course, this is a great ballpark here as well, but that old feeling was tremendous.
Well, that's nice. I mean, Joe would actually have me come around, and I said, "You really want me? Is this okay?" He said, "No, the guys will love it. It'll relax everybody."
Well, everybody knew what a big fan you were, not only of the Yankees, but baseball in general. Just come on in, jump in for a while.
Yeah, and I still could play a little bit. I wasn't going to look like Tony Perkins in Fear Strikes Out.
Slow roller in front of the plate, and that'll do it. April 19th on HBO. I can't recommend it enough, whatever that means. I saw it on Broadway. Billy Crystal, 700
Thank
Sundays.
you, guys.
It was phenomenal.
Great to see you.
Really good to see you.
Have a
Yankees
great
take
season.
the lead. They score one. We go to the fourth inning. It's 1-0
I'm on the
Yanks.
bridge. I'm on the bridge.
Never forget that opening day. The pictures of Pettit and the snowflakes right almost through his eyes.
Lincoln scoreboard 1-0 Yankees over the O's. Nick Markakis takes outside. They called it a strike. 0-1.
Now, Kuroda pitched one of the best games of the year right here at Yankee Stadium. It was against the Orioles, April 14th of last year. 9 innings, 5 hits, complete game shutout. Didn't walk anybody. Yankees won 3-0. It was an excellent performance.
Ground ball to Jeter. We're going to spin the time machine, David, bring you back. 1996, a snowy April day. Across the street.
That scene right there.
Santa.
Unbelievable.
Were you huddled on the bench, or did you go back to the clubhouse?
No, we had the parkas on, that's for sure. We didn't know what a polar vortex was back then, but there was certainly something like that going on back in '96.
Here's Adam Jones against Hiroki Kuroda, who has a 1-0 lead. And the Yankees get their run because right in the middle of it again, starting the inning with a walk, was Solarte, who is certainly not disappointed as he has moved into the starting lineup. Done everything you could possibly want. Rounded up the middle and a base hit. Fans, you can now tweet your best fan photo using hashtag #YesFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown during the game. Brought to you by AT&T. Later in the game, we'll see the first fan photo that will show. So Adam Jones held there by Kelly Johnson. Tomorrow is an afternoon game as well here at Yankee Stadium, a 1:05 start. And the Orioles right now are in the midst of 5 straight day games. And they have not done that since April of 1994.
There are players that will tell you they get in more of a routine with the night schedule when that starts to break in, but in April, you'd rather be playing in the daytime. It's more what you're used to doing in spring training.
Lindsey Berra is Yogi Berra's granddaughter, and she tweeted this picture out of Yogi on his way to the ballpark today. It's so great to see him here at the park, and she had told me that he so wanted to come, and if the weather cooperated, they were going to make sure he got here, and he is here enjoying the game. And we thank Lindsey Berra for tweeting that out. The guy she calls Gramps.
And rumor has it he's still coming up with the Yogi-isms too. Even as we speak, I'm sure he's probably got a line of the day.
Kuroda gave up 2 runs in 6 innings in his start on the road. That was in Houston, game the Yankees lost. The 3-0. 3-1.
See Kuroda being very careful with Davis here, even on the 3-0 pitch, making sure he's going for the corners. Yankees still employing that extreme shift, even with Adam Jones on first. So ground ball to Solarte, the third baseman, playing second base right there. It's going to be tough for Derek to get over and cover.
Orioles a very powerful team. They're the only team in the major leagues last year that hit over 200 home runs. They hit 212 to be exact. And Davis was their leader. 53 of them.
Let's see if they send Adam Jones 3-2 with 1 out. They do not. Fly ball left field. Toward the line is Gardner. He leaps and he makes the play, tagging Adam Jones, and he'll make it to second. That's some play by Brett Gardner.
He actually caught it in foul territory, and there is not much room over there for an outfielder to make any sort of play. That's the leap, as Michael called it, up against the wall. And that's on our New York Presbyterian replay. Amazing things are happening here. And here's a throw to second. Adam Jones at first kind of heads up. He followed it all the way and tags up and will be able to go to second. But a great play by Gardner in the corner. Good concentration. The leap takes it away from that fan and gets it back in.
Yeah, had the distraction of a little almost Steve Bartman-like action down the left field line there. And as the fan tried to reach over, probably would have been ejected had he touched that ball, because that was over the fence and over the side fence and in the field of play.
There's Matt Wieters.
Had have been subject to an interference call or maybe even a replay.
Or Steve Bartman, the Chicago Cubs fan that reached over in the playoffs, that everybody still kind of talks about as haunting the Cubs from moving further into the postseason.
The 1-0. Up the middle, a base hit. Adam Jones will round third, and he will score. It's an RBI single for Wieters, and the heads-up tag by Jones pays off as the Orioles have tied the game at 1.
We told you Wieters has been a hot hitter in the early going here. His average was at 368 coming into the game. It jumps up a bit now that he's 1 for 2. Now let's see where the pitch is. It's supposed to be away, and it's sort of in the middle of the plate. He just drops the head on it, line drive, center field, base hit. You don't have to miss by much when a hitter is really swinging the bat well. If you catch too much plate, he usually gets good wood on it. As Michael said, Jones tagging up and moving to second on that catch by Brett Gardner pays off as the score is now tied on the Wieters base hit.
Now on an off-speed pitch, staying back, Wieters, and hitting it back up the middle. Clearly locked in right now.
Count 1-0. 1-1. We told you Tim Timmons behind the plate. The first base umpire, Todd Kitchener. Tim Welke's at second, and Will Little is at third.
Tim Timmons calling strikes back there today, Kenny. So you better be ready to swing the bat on both sides.
So you're seeing anything close?
Anything close. Certainly not afraid to raise that right hand.
As we watch Kuroda work here, when he gets 2 strikes on a hitter, he does have a good split finger. It's not as explosive as Masahiro Tanaka's, but it's still a pretty good one. There it was right there. Didn't quite get it close enough to the strike zone to get Cruz to chase it. Good pick by McCann.
Top of the 4th inning, 1-1.
Kuroda pretty much a 3-pitch pitcher. Fastball, slider, and a split. About 50% fastballs and equal splits among his slider and his splitter.
Count full. That's going to release Wieters at first. And Kelly Johnson will back up.
Good take there from Cruz. As you see, this is a really good slider, just off.
A lot of less disciplined hitters would have chased that.
Runner goes. 3-2 is grounded to short. Jeter to first, and that'll do it. But the Orioles tie the score, 1 run on 2 hits with 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning, 1-1. With a run scored in his first home opener in '96. Who drove him in?
I'm going to say Mariano Duncan.
Let's see. Paul O'Neill. Don't beat yourself up, baby. You were cold then.
You know,
That's right.
I can verify that I gave the answer to the truck before.
Right.
I just didn't do it over the air. I should have.
So you said Paul O'Neill?
Yeah, I did.
Really? I had no idea, and I didn't even try.
I've never been afraid to make a fool out of myself. So
I know how things have a tendency to come full circle. So Paulie, of course.
Lincoln scoreboard, it's a 1-1 game. That one's popped up. Jimenez making the call and the catch. Did you hate to do that, David?
no, I loved it.
Yeah?
Made you feel like an athlete out there on the mound.
Like Little League again.
That's bragging rights. Get a put out all by yourself. Look at him. He's calling it.
There's Flaherty in the background. The only other fielder had a chance.
And you're right, Kenny, with those shifts. We're going to see those plays a lot. Guys, can I do a shout out right now? Everybody here at the S Network wants to shout out to a great friend of ours, Jack Williams, who is our high home cameraman to most of our games. He's had health issues all winter. He's getting better, and I know that he wanted to be here for the home opener. Wasn't able to make it. He will be here at some point, and hopefully soon, and we know he's watching. And I'd saved up so many things to rip him about, make fun of him about. So I've got them in my back pocket when he finally does come back. But everybody here at Yes wants to see you, Jack, very, very soon. So continue to get better, and we're waiting for you. So's your camera.
Yeah, we miss you, Jack.
No doubt about it. The great sense of humor.
Is he going to rip him when he gets back?
Well, we had been texting throughout the winter. He said, I might get emotional when I come back there. I hope you don't make fun of me. I said, I'm going to.
Jack's wardrobe, he had some of the greatest shirts. I mean, those long, flowing shirts that.
Well, he's got the great Tommy Bahama collection.
Yeah, well, you know, it's not quite Tommy Bahama weather today, but Jack would have one on anyway.
Right up the middle and a base hit. He avoided the shift. So that's his first solid hit of the season. The other hit, which was in Toronto, was a blooper to right field. That was well struck.
Yeah, it's the confidence field of when you haven't been hitting well, and all of a sudden you can see rearing top there. It's Lombardozzi. This ball's hit so hard he doesn't have a chance to come up with it.
A little bit of an overshift on Baltimore's part, but either way, that's a knock. Hit well up the middle.
That'd bring a smile to your face.
Brian Roberts takes a strike. Meredith Marakovich joins us. And Meredith, Alfonso told you he's more relaxed, right?
There's no doubt about it. Kenny, you mentioned more comfortable, looks a little bit more comfortable at the plate. Well, I walked up to him in the clubhouse today and said, 0 for 17 to start the season. How much better do you feel going into this one? And he said, oh, you have no idea. I feel so much better. He talked a little bit about maybe being too aggressive, being over-aggressive, trying to get that first hit. And that hit in Baltimore, even though it was a bloop single, I think did a lot for his confidence. But it was actually that first at-bat against Drew Hutchison who hit him with a pitch, and he walked to first, and he said, I feel like that pitch literally hit the monkey off my back. That got the monkey off his back. He relaxed a little bit after that, and you're seeing him today with some more comfortable at-bats.
At one time, Soriano was a big stolen base threat. He had a 40-40 season in Washington, 3 other 30-30 seasons. And now, while he doesn't steal as many bases, he's still capable, with a pretty decent percentage, of getting himself to second base in tight ball games.
Yeah, as you mentioned in the pregame, Jimenez fairly easy to steal off of as well.
You can see the long delivery, extended delivery, even from the stretch, and that's why he's the man of steel. A.J. Burnett and Tommy Hanson, the only 2 pitchers who have allowed more steals since 2008 than Ubaldo Jimenez. I know he's got a great catcher behind the plate, Wieters, who can't make up the time. But you see that long, how he drops his hand way back. Once you see that first bit of movement, you got to take off.
That's what Kenny's talking about, is the arm swing and the arm action. Swings his arm all the way behind him with a long stride. That's his style. He's always thrown the ball that way. A lot of old-time scouts thought that would lead to arm trouble, or that has led to arm trouble for him, but that's the way he learned how to throw the ball, and that's the way he probably should stay, as he has gotten success going back to his old way.
I've read a lot of theories on that, David, where, you know, a team wants to change the way you pitch in order to put you in a better position to stay healthy. But now there are some teams that go, listen, if we can get 6 or 7 years of what this guy does, you just take that, and if he gets hurt, he gets hurt.
That's exactly right. You see the wrap behind his back. Most pitchers, have a circle and a reach, sort of an arc to their arm swing, and that's kind of a wrap behind him and a stop.
Brian Roberts hits one deep to right field. Markakis is back on the track. He'll make the play for the second out.
But you're right, Michael, just to finish that point, it is so hard when you get to the major league level to change your style, your whole arm action. And that's what was done to Jimenez after he hurt his arm. And finally, in the middle of last year, he went back to his old way, and Cleveland sort of encouraged him to do it, and his fastball came back, his velocity started to come back. We've seen him top out at 95 here today. So certainly it's the right way to go for Jimenez.
Here's Kelly Johnson. 3 infielders on the right side. Only Scope on the left side. Snap throw to first, and Soriano gets back. Kenny, I'm amazed at the way he throws the ball, that Jimenez even got through the Orioles vetting process, because they don't sign pitchers.
Yeah.
Brant Balfour signed a contract. They looked at his arm. They said, no, that's out.
Yeah.
They've done it before, too.
Yeah, that's their medical people are really sticklers on pitchers' arms and shoulders and elbows when they go through that exam.
You must have checked out okay for them to make that investment.
What was it, $50 million, $48 million? It's the most they've ever given to a free agent pitcher.
Kind of give the feeling that Baltimore sat around and watched all the moves in the division, especially with the Yankees, and kind of felt like, you know what, we need a hitter and a pitcher, especially after the Yankees signed Masahiro Tanaka. The choice for the Orioles was, on the pitching side, was either Ubaldo Jimenez or Irvin Santana. And Santana was the one who really suffered, had a great year last year with Kansas City, but ended up with a one-year deal down in Atlanta at the last minute. And Jimenez got the 4-year, $50 million deal, which will also cost Baltimore their first-round pick next year, which is the 17th pick.
And that's why some teams have been hesitant to sign players when they have to lose that #1 pick. And I think you really have to know what's available in the draft, and if somebody you want is going to get down to your slot, or might get down to your slot.
And once they signed Jimenez, then they felt comfortable signing Cruz to just a one-year deal because they didn't have to give up a first-round pick. They gave up a second. They didn't want to give up a first-round pick to sign a guy to a one-year contract. Runner goes 3-2. And a bit high. So Kelly Johnson was. And that's going to bring up Solarte.
New pitching coach Dave Wallace looking on, and Mendes has now walked more batters than he's given up hits today. And over the years, that's been one of the bugaboos for him, the base on balls.
Certainly got strikeout stuff in his career, about 8.27 strikeouts per 9, Jimenez does, and also 4.04 walks per 9, so about 2 to 1.
Well, many times this year so far, Solarte's been right man, right place, and now he's got a situation right here with a couple down. Here comes the new pitching coach we just talked about him. Dave Wallace has had a lot of success over the years. Back in his days with the Dodgers, worked with the likes of Pedro Martinez, when Pedro was in his formative years.
This chiropractic telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees.
You know, Dave Wallace, that pitching coach we just saw, also was with the Mets. Has a little New York flavor. I had a little experience with him with the Mets and some of the spring trainings, and very impressive. Very positive pitching coach. Good with mechanics. Very similar to Mel Stoudemire, the Yankees' great pitching coach for years, and also Met pitching coach.
Now it is looped into right field. Coming on and diving is Markakis. He can't make the play. Soriano will score. Moving to third is Johnson. It's an RBI single for Solarte, and the Yankees take a 2-1 lead.
Well, I think back once again to what Bill Ampler told me in Toronto, the Yankees assistant general manager. I like Solarte because he puts the bat on the ball. That was a pretty good pitch. We're going to look at this on Yes Mo, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealer. In and out of the glove. It would have been a great catch by Markakis. When the ball comes out, that was a tough pitch. It was a changeup. Solarte stayed back just enough to bloop it into right field, and just enough that Markakis couldn't hold on. You can see he's fooled, but flicks the bat at the ball. The Yankees like the way he makes contact.
It's a good pitch from Jimenez, and excellent play coverage from Solarte. And unlike football, the ground can cause a fumble in baseball.
Brett Gardner takes up and away 1-0.
Now, through 18 at-bats, we're talking about making contact. Solarte struck out one time in his major league career.
Certainly been the story of the early part of the season for the Yankees. The thing I like about him, Michael and Kenny, is, you know, a 9-year minor league player. This is his first taste in the big leagues. You talk about paying your dues and earning your way up. Just a look on his face, how hungry he is, how satisfied to finally make the big leagues.
But he's not going to walk very often either. I should point out he's only walked once, too.
It's a great story.
No, twice now. He's walked once today, twice.
You throw Dean Anna in that category as well.
Yeah.
Career minor league player, first taste of the big leagues.
Very humble, too, David. He very, very forthright when he says, I look to my left and I can't believe I'm standing next to Derek Jeter.
That can infuse some energy into a veteran clubhouse. These young kids, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, as they say. I mean, Solarte, that look in his eyes and on his face every day he comes to the ballpark. He's very thankful.
Grounded.
Ooh.
Back.
You know, people have a tendency to think of Gardner as sort of a slash and dash hitter, and he is. He can hit the ball well to the opposite field, back through the middle. Every once in a while, he'll catch you speeding, or you hang something on the inner half like he did in Toronto yesterday with the 2-run homer, and he'll slash something down the right field side, and he just missed what would have been for him an extra base hit.
Yeah, he's really gotten better. That's a great point, Kenny. And Kevin Long, the hitting coach, works on the Yankee left-handed hitters, especially in this ballpark, with a little flip drill to help them pull their hands in and turn on those inside pitches. And Gardner progressively has gotten better at that.
Well, he'll be going 3-2 and 2 outs. And it's foul back, so Solarte will go again, staying put at third. Kelly Johnson. We talk about experience and hunger. Solarte, 672 minor league games. Dean Anna, 554 minor league games. So that is some stick-to-itiveness. A lot of guys would have given up. 3-2, swung on and missed. And Jimenez gets out of further trouble. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. We go to the 5th, 2-1 Yanks. Nice. It's great to see you, you know?
It's good to be here.
We'd love to see you in person rather than on a TV screen.
It's a little bit of the studio right here in the Bronx.
See, yesterday he said, would I actually be able to find my way here?
And you did, because you're a pro.
I went down to the local Quick Stop.
Right.
And I got myself one of those foldable road maps.
Really?
Yeah. Do you know they had those? And
so you didn't go for the Garmin, you went for the road map.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it
It's
took
hard
me
to
about
drive
7
and read,
hours to
though.
get here. Yeah.
It's hard to drive and read at the same time.
Well, you look great. None the worse for wear.
You guys look great, too. Coney, thanks for giving me a little space up here in the booth, by the way, to cut it.
That's it. Stand up. Well, you know, it's good. It's a cold day, but there's nothing wrong with standing up through a broadcast.
We'll see Bob a little bit later on with Jack and Meredith as well. The pitch to Lombardozzi is a strike as we start the 5th inning here at the stadium. Yankees up 2-1. The count 1-1. Lights have been on all day. The sun is really a rumor today. Overcast, cloudy. Count 1 and 2. And there is certainly a chill in the air.
And rain in the forecast, and pitchers are throwing strikes, at least on the Yankee side so far.
Punched out the other way. It's a foul ball. Now, David, obviously you pitched in much colder temperatures in the World Series, but does cold weather like this take something away from you as a pitcher?
It really can, Michael. You know, I used to look at about the 50-degree cutoff. I mean, you got really several degrees below 50 on Fahrenheit, obviously, that, you know, the ball got a little slicker. The circulation in your hand and fingers was a little more difficult. The ball, just hard to manufacture spin on a baseball. Kuroda's got good splitters and good action on his stuff today, as well as Jimenez. So I don't think it's quite cold enough to affect the pitchers, but it can. It really, you know, as I said before, You just can't get the perspiration going. You can't get the feel, the tackiness that you need for the fingertips to spin the ball, either on sliders or even splitters for that matter.
Strike three. Lombardozzi down looking.
That looked like it was a spillover fastball. And this is one of those days they allow the pitchers to blow it to their hands just so they get a little bit better feel. Yeah, there it is. Look at that movement. Man, Dave, you've been proud of that one. Strike three call. You save it for 2 strikes. Left-handed hitter thinks, oh, this is inside. Oh, no, it's not.
You can see the 2-seam rotation coming in. Excellent. I've been really impressed with McCann behind the plate. Not only receiving balls, but the way he calls the game, too.
And an attempt at a drag bunt by Flaherty, but foul.
Well, you know, Kenny, I talked about it. Michael, you've heard me talk a lot about catchers and how they set up and framing ability, but you watch McCann move in and out behind the plate and the target he gives. Just outstanding. Textbook. If you're a young catcher trying to get the most out of your pitchers, watch this guy. How he sets up, how he receives the ball. Watch the target he gives to Kuroda once he sets up. The glove never moves. Give it to me right there.
You threw to some good catchers. I think we saw one today. Jorge Posada, Joe Girardi, of course. Very solid tandem here with the Yankees back in the glory days.
But McCann certainly is the total package. You know, all the emphasis has been on his left-handed swing and how many home runs he'll hit at Yankee Stadium. I think the way he catches defensively is going to be a big difference for this Yankee pitching staff, especially once they get to learn each other a little better. But even catching Sabathia the other day, you know, when Sabathia got on a roll, I think it was 17 out of 18 he retired in a row in the middle of that game of his last start. He and McCann really got on the same page, and McCann just called an excellent game for him.
Grounded into the teeth of the shift for the second out.
And when you mean getting on a roll, that means it's almost the same amount of time between pitches. You know, the sign, the pitcher nods his head, ready to go, and each and every time it results in an out, the game starts to move along.
Working both sides of the plate.
The grass is getting a little greener across the street there.
That's where David used to pitch.
Right here is where I used to play. Right, used to be Babe Ruth Field over here. That was a long time ago.
Scope rips one inside third and down the left field line. That is going to go into the corner, dug out there by Gardner, and Jonathan Scope with a 2-out double.
The Orioles expect big things out of this young man. One of the jewels of their farm system, signed out of Curacao. Man, that ball was in the inner third. He just scalded it down the third base line. Not much of a chance for Solarte. We look at this on Yes Mo, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealer. That's Will Little, the third baseman, getting big. Will getting big over at third.
Making the call before he hit the ground, too. It's impressive.
We should mention Scope is playing third because Manny Machado, the brilliant third baseman, the Orioles underwent knee surgery, and they don't want to rush him. He's too valuable to this franchise. He's still down in Florida. They are not putting a timetable on him. He's going to be back by this date because they think if they put that date there, that he'll push himself. They don't want to push him. But they're hoping around May.
Yeah, Machado suffered very serious knee injury at the, I think it was the next to last or the last game of the season last year down at Tampa Bay. And innocently enough, he was just trying to round first base. And his knee popped out and had surgery. And as Michael said, they're taking their time.
Here's the 1-0 to David Lowe.
In the minor leagues, it was Scope at second and Machado at short. That was the combination. Throughout the minor league system, and those two worked their way up to the big leagues.
So Scope is spelled like Shoop, but it's pronounced Scope. S-C-H-O-O-P. The 1-1. 2-1.
Decent pitch count for Kuroda so far. This will be the 70th pitch coming here with 2 outs in the 5th.
2-2. And they picked him off. Great job, and Scope was sleeping at second base to end the inning. The tying run at second in the 5th inning, and the youngster, his mind was wandering.
You almost watched McCann kind of deke him and set up, and then quick, right at the last minute.
He is out. We're halfway through. Most hits in American League history by a right-handed batter. Derek Jeter sits atop that list, 3,320, passing Paul Molitor, and he's 4th on the American League list behind 3 other left-handed batters. So he has the most hits of any righty batter in American League history.
Yeah, we also have a note here, Michael, that once he passed Molitor, now he has more hits than anybody that he's ever played with or against.
Thought it was interesting the other day that Cal Ripken Jr. was quoted as saying that he would almost trade careers with Jeter. He'd almost rather have Derek Jeter's career coming from the great Cal Ripken.
I saw that. And he mentioned it's all about winning the championships.
Derek Jeter can claim 5 at this point.
Derek's 0 for 2 today. That one is driven deep to left field. There it goes! Off the wall! Just missed a home run. Jeter's going for 2. He will make it. That's a double. His family thought it was gone. I thought it was gone. I think he thought it was gone. And it just hit near the top of the wall. And Buck Showalter is going to come out and talk things over.
There was a pitch, it's up. And Derek kind of thought, well, sort of had the Cadillac work, and now he's going to have to hustle. Turn it into a Maserati and gets it into second just ahead of the throw.
Now, how rare is it to see him break it down?
Well, you know what? I think if you hit that ball in July, when the ball carries better, it is gone.
Especially down the line.
Yeah. Let's see, didn't miss by all that much. Ooh, couple, 1-2 more feet. It's out of here. Good play by David Lowe, too, on the carom. Boy, we get a good look at this, man. We've got the best cameraman. Yeah, here he comes. Yeah, he's in there.
Well, one thing, you know, that he really tested that ankle, at least between first and second, so he's feeling good because he ran well once he got to first.
Well, they've been here from the start. They've seen so many of his games. Mom, dad, sister. Now his nephew as well. Ellsbury loops one into right field. That's going to dunk in for a base hit. Jeter rounds third, and he's going to come home with the run. An RBI single for Ellsbury, and the Yankees lead 3-1.
You know, just watching Derek Jeter run the bases in these 2 instances, he is so far ahead of what he was last year when he could not hardly move around the bases. Now watch this. Here's the base hit. He recognizes it's going to fall in, but watch this burst right at the very end here. Turned it into another gear.
This Jeter's family watching the ball that they thought was a home run. Turned into a double. And now a run scored. So Ellsbury continues his hot hitting. 2 more hits today in his first game in pinstripes in a regular season game.
Certainly anticipate the aggressive Ellsbury picking a pitch to run on in this sequence. Missed a changeup there on the first pitch. Would have been a good one.
Another changeup.
.52 stolen bases last year. Clearly one of the best base runners, if not the best base runners in the big leagues.
Here he goes. Pitch is high. Throw to second. Beautiful throw. They got him. Perfect throw by Wieters.
Wieters one of the best in the game. He didn't win the Gold Glove last year, but the previous 2 years he did, and primarily because he could do this. Really shut down the run. That throw is right on the bag. All Flaherty had to do is catch the ball and wait for Ellsbury to come in.
Tell you what.
He needed to get the glove out in front of the bag.
Yeah, he laid the glove on top of the bag.
Yeah, he's safe.
He is safe.
Too late to challenge now. Line drive, a base hit to right field for Carlos Beltran.
See, Wieters got a good ball to throw there.
Yeah, he
the
did.
2 changeups, a 90-mile-an-hour fastball up, almost like a pitch out.
Yeah, he threw out 33% of the runners who attempted to steal last year. He'll be a free agent at the end of next year if the Orioles don't get him signed.
And he is represented by Scott Boras, so he's probably not going to sign early. Scott doesn't do that with his clients that often. Lets it play out. Zach Britton, the lefty, up. Can swings and misses.
See how shallow Adam Jones is in center field, even on the power bat of Brian McCann here.
Yeah, Carlos Beltran at first. Beltran used to be one of the preeminent base stealers in the game, and he had a high percentage of stolen bases. And when he left, he was going to make it, but he's not that type of player anymore.
High drive, right center. Jones back, and he'll make the play as Beltran heads back to first.
McCann's getting closer, isn't he? Yeah, he had a pretty good pass at that one. You know, he's hit 20 home runs, 6 or 7 years in a row. And the thing about it, playing for the Atlanta Braves, Turner Field's one of the biggest ballparks in baseball. It's more pitcher friendly. He didn't quite drive that one. Got underneath it just a little bit.
Jimenez already up to 95 pitches here. 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, 7 hits and 4 base on balls, so he's had to work.
0-2.
That's why the Orioles bullpen is hot right now, and it's probably is either his last inning or possibly even last hitter. The switch hitter Brian Roberts on deck, so Showalter will have a choice depending on the outcome of this at bat.
The 0-2. Foul back.
Soriano did a good job of spoiling that. If the count was anything but 0-2, I think he would have had a better swing. That was kind of a hanging slider. He gets that pitch early in a count, or when he's ahead of the count, he's going to be more aggressive.
Just got a piece to stay alive. McCann has not found his stroke yet. Out of spring training, hit some balls well.
He's getting closer, though.
The 0-2. 1-2.
One thing we saw from Soriano last year in that big second half he had for the Yankees is he could hit the ball out to right here. He sort of noted as more of a pull hitter, but here at Yankee Stadium, he's got the pop to shoot it to right.
Popped up, shallow left center. That is going to dunk it for a base hit. And Beltran gets in ahead of the throw by Adam Jones. So a base hit for Soriano now, 2 for 2 with a walk.
This might be the day, the breakout day, when you start getting hits like this off the end of the bat. These are real confidence boosters. You see those outfielders who have to play back and respect his power. They come on and they can't quite get to it. Those are the hits that, especially those drop it in the outfield, and the ones that the infielders reach for and can't quite get. Those are the ones that really get you going and thinking things are going my way.
And the opposite feeling if you're on the mound from Jimenez makes a good pitch, promotes weak contact, and he's still out there.
Tony, I think this is going to be his last man. If he doesn't get Roberts out, I think you'll see Zach Britton, the left-hander, come in to face Kelly Johnson. And even if he does get him out and ends the inning, I think you'll see Britton next inning anyway, because the pitch count's getting up there.
Foul back.
Still good velocity from Jimenez. He's shown the ability to really reach back when he needs to. 94 on that last fastball. He's touched 95 today.
One and two.
So much more emphasis nowadays on efficiency from starting pitching across the board. Every manager, especially early in the year, seems to look around the 100 pitch mark as trying to squeeze in as many innings as you can. The goal nowadays, try to get 7 innings in around 100 pitches.
Off the glove of Wieters, runner stay put.
And the ball breaks off the glove of Wieters, but if you're Beltran at second, you've got to make sure you can get the third base standing up. And Wieters, has everybody knows, has a good, strong throwing arm, so he's capable of making the recovery on his own once he picks the ball up.
Two. Missed outside, 3-2, so the runners will go. A full count, 2 outs.
And that's no small thing, Michael. The fact is now the Oriole outfielders kind of lose a chance to throw a runner out at the plate if there's a base hit because they have a running start.
Adam Jones in very shallow center field for Brian Roberts.
3 very strong arms out there in the outfield. Roberts has had some good swings today. He just hasn't connected. He lined out to right field his last time up. And he's got Jimenez in a situation to either put up or shut up. You got to throw a strike here.
He finds a gap here. 2 runs will score.
Runners go. Fouled away again. Trying to stay loose. And he walked him to load the bases. So let's see. That'll do it as Showalter signals to the bullpen. He's going to call on the left-hander Zach Britton. Bases loaded. 1 run already in, 2 outs. Kelly Johnson due up. Showalter goes to the pen. Well, that's the ticket for opening day here at Yankee Stadium. And the ticket into the ball game is Buck Showalter's call to the bullpen, brought to you by Verizon. And he brings in the left-hander Zach Britton, one of two lefties in the Orioles bullpen, and he will face Kelly Johnson.
We've seen Britton in a starting role in the past. He's been in a couple of games this year, picked up a win in relief, and he's done a pretty good job. He's got a hard sinker and a pretty decent breaking ball, but for some reason didn't work out as a starter.
Bases loaded with the Yankees as they try to break this open. They're up 3-1 here in the bottom of the fifth. Yankees 14-2 in home openers since 1998. Since 1984, 25-5 in home openers. The pitch. Now, follow this under a stat that shocked me. Kelly Johnson is one of 3 left-handed batters in Major League history with 100 or more plate appearances who's a lefty batter and has a better OPS against lefty pitchers. Number 1 is Enos Slaughter. Number 2 is Ichiro. Number 3 is Kelly Johnson. OPS is on base percentage plus slugging. Who'd have thought that?
Certainly career-wise, yes, on 1,000 plate appearances, and but those numbers the last couple of years haven't been anywhere near those career numbers. So it's kind of all relative, but nonetheless an interesting number.
He should get a good pitch to hit here. The hit on the count, 2-0.
Right down the middle, 2-1.
It's one of those situations, your starting pitcher sitting on the bench, 3 of your runs are out there. And on the other end, the relief pitcher, one of the most important stats is inherited runners and how well you do in this situation.
Yeah, because if he gives up a triple here and then gets the next guy out, he has a 0 ERA for his appearance, but he didn't do his job. That's why you have to look at ERA when you look at relievers and not pay that much mind to it.
Yeah, there's so much more that goes into it, and I know a lot of relievers really take pride in this particular stat. Tough situation for Britton with the bases loaded, though.
3-1. They walked him. Forces in a run. So that OPS goes up, and the Yankee lead goes to 4-1.
6 walks now attained by Yankee hitters, and that run is charged to Jimenez. There's no defense for the base on balls. The Yankees have scored in the last 3 innings. In each inning, they've had at least 1 walk included in the rally.
Here's Solarde. And a strike. Solarde walked and scored in the 3rd, RBI single right in the 4th. 4-1 Yankees lead.
There's that good sinker.
It's part of the skill set that Solarde features that had him make this team. The fact that he is a switch hitter as well. Switches around, going to bat right-handed the first time today.
Foul ball.
Among other things as well, he could play the outfield, as Kenny mentioned. You know, good glove, play anywhere on the infield. Probably put him at first base in an emergency, but we saw him play left field in spring training and handle himself pretty well.
I'll tell you what, the Yankees gave him a true test in spring training, and he passed every one of them.
Tapped right back to the mound. Britton goes to first, and that'll do it. But the Yankees get 2 runs. And it started when Derek Jeter flirting with a dramatic opening day blast, but he got a double, and he was driven in by Ellsbury. 1 more run came in. Yankees up 4-1. All right, we go to the 6th inning. Yankees up 4-1. Their home opener. 4 runs on 8 hits. The Orioles 1 run on 5 hits. It's going to be the top of the Oriole order against Hiroki Kuroda. David Lowe. Ground ball up the middle. Moving to his right is Roberts. 1 pitch, 1 out. I was going to ask you, and maybe that answered it, how tough is it? That's a long inning, a cold day for him to stay loose.
Very tough. You know, obviously Kuroda's a veteran now. It's hard to stay loose, and, you know, especially in those long innings, and then you get a break and get a quick pitch out here in the 6th. I'd always try to sneak out there and get a few extra warm-up pitches, Michael. I would be the first one out of the dugout when a third out's made by the opposing team. I'd get out there quickly and tell my catcher to be out there with me and get a few extra warm-ups.
Now, in the old stadium, you didn't have that option. Here, there are mounds right next to the dugout. Would you ever throw just soft toss just to keep your arm loose?
I think I might. Certainly you couldn't do it at the old stadium, but as you said, with the configuration of the new ballpark and the batting cage is right behind the dugout, it's much easier to go play catch.
Well, Kakis fouls it off. Count 0-2. So the delay hasn't hurt him. He's thrown 3 strikes with 3 pitches.
Kuroda's been very sharp today, very efficient. All of his pitches have worked.
I think any starting pitcher would take a delay if his team is scoring runs for him.
Would have waited a little longer for a few more, certainly.
1-2.
Last year we saw Markakis leading off quite often for Baltimore, but they've dropped him back a bit. You might see him a few times during the course. It all depends on how well David Lowe plays.
Nate McLeod played left field for them last year, left as a free agent, and he was a good player for them.
Yeah, he was. He went right down the road to the Washington Nationals.
No inning did he top 19 pitches, so he's got 75 so far in the game. 2-2. Tap to third. Right there is Solarde. So, Kenny, you're familiar with that area. He doesn't have to move, right?
Well, it depends on where he was living in the Maryland area. If he was north of Baltimore, he's going to have to move south.
Okay.
He would have to move south. You don't want to deal with 2 city traffics just to get the work.
So 2 down, top of the 6th inning, and the Yankees lead the Orioles 4-1. And here's Adam Jones. Adam with a fly ball to center, then a single to center. Also scored the Orioles' only run. That was in the 4th inning.
Good pitch. Just nasty slider.
You can see Kuroda, that pronounced hesitation in the middle of his windup. When he starts to get that going, he's starting to really feel it. Right about there.
Grounded to third. Solarde backs up, gets a nice hop. The long throw. And the nice scoop by Kelly Johnson to end the inning. Johnson, a novice at first base, doing the job on a tough throw by Yangervis Solarde. Let's take a look at that one. It was one of those long hops, which is not easy. And there, Johnson pulls it in. All right, going to the bottom of the 6th inning here at the stadium. Top of the order, Brett Gardner, the only Yankee that did not come to the plate in their 2-run 5th inning. He'll lead it off. Brett is 1 for 3 today. Count 1-0. It'll be Gardner, Jeter, and Ellsbury. Hit that one twice.
Gardner with the base hit in the 3rd inning has stretched an early season hitting streak to 5 consecutive games.
Tries to bunt. 1-2. That's right. Mo's out there. It was retired while he was still playing last year. Mo, one of the 2 first pitches today, thrown by Mo and Andy Pettit to Jorge Posada and Derek Jeter. Chop toward first. 1 away. That'll bring up Derek Jeter. Last time up, Jeter doubled. Very close, I'd say, less than a foot from a home run, right down the line, hit over the 8 in a 318 mark. And boy, would he have been embarrassed after breaking it down if he got thrown out at second base. He thought that ball was gone. Still no excuse, and have to run until it clears the wall, but that would have been tough for him to take.
Yes, it certainly would have.
You know, with every hit, we talk about him passing Paul Molitor. With that double, he broke a tie with Ted Williams on the all-time list. He's now got, Derek now has 529 doubles.
He's got a lot of everything across
exactly.
the board. You know, we used to say back in the 90s, the 98 World Series team I was a part of, that, you know, it was a team, it was a true team. We had no Hall of Famers on that team. Well, we were wrong. Actually, too, Mariano.
Yeah.
Derek Jeter did not pass go directly to Cooperstown. And I think Jorge Posada will get consideration, too, with his numbers as a catcher. So right now, actually, we had 2 Hall of Famers that are surefire on those 90s teams.
Here's a look at the double again as the pitcher was up, and maybe a splitter that just hung up there, just missed a home run. Right near the 318 sign down the left field line. There's a hustle in the second with the 2-base hit.
Really well played by Lowe out there in left field.
That's the one reason why the Orioles like him. He's a good defender.
He's a big prospect for the Royals. It's kind of a surprise trade by the Royals. They really liked Valencia. The Royals did, so that was the deal. The right-handed batting Valencia for the left-handed batting Lowe.
You know, Kenny, you mentioned the doubles.
Yeah.
He needs 8 more doubles to tie Lou Gehrig for the most in franchise history.
Okay.
Gehrig with 534. Starting to drizzle just a bit here at the stadium. We had heard anywhere from 3 to 4 o'clock. Hopefully it holds off. And as we mentioned earlier, the weather the rest of the week is supposed to be just great. Not good, great. Especially for early April, so lucking out in that sense. But today, the home opener, it's been overcast and somewhat damp and chilly.
A lot of people around here say it's about time. After a long, cold winter.
Could not hold up. Jeter down on strikes. He's 1 for 4. A lot of people here at the stadium today. One guy who desperately wanted to be here, and David and I have actually had the honor of sitting in the bleachers with the Bleacher Creatures. Bald Vinny got a new job. He's the leader of the Bleacher Creatures, and he could not get off of work to come. And I was reading his Twitter account. It was killing him.
It was killing him, and somebody had to take over the roll call, which has been a trademark from the Bleacher Creatures. And there's all of his disciples, and they are a big part of Yankee Stadium.
Well, he taught them well because they did get the job done.
Boy, his anguish came right off his Twitter feed. I mean, how he wanted to be here. Supposed to be here this weekend. Duty calls, Vinny. The 0-1. 1-1. Chop towards second. Lombardozzi. And a 1-2-3 inning by Zach Britton. We're going to the 7th here at the stadium. 4-1 Yanks. Go to the game. Tweet us your photo to hashtag YesFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast brought to you by AT&T. This is our first one, and it was tweeted from NJ Ramos 17, the young man with the sign "Today, Tomorrow, Forever," a Jeter fan. And so Derek Jeter is going to be the subject of many of these signs. You know, that's the little girl that got
the
ball baseball
from
from
Houston. Yeah.
And when Derek took it away from the lady that kept trying to grab for it, and made sure that little girl ended up getting the baseball.
Obviously, he saw the sign and appreciated it. And boy, their whole family was really, really happy. The whole family was just ecstatic after Derek gave her the ball.
Cadillac scoreboard 4-1, Yankees over the O's. Chris Davis takes low. Here's the moment. Derek saying, no, not you.
What?
No, not you.
What's the lady in orange?
No, not you. Stop grabbing. Nope, nope, nope. Yes. And for life. I don't know about the lady in orange.
She was acting more like the 12-year-old.
Yeah.
1-1. Well, they were all playing Chris Davis somewhere on the Grand Concourse.
Deeper than deep.
53 home runs will dictate that.
And it's like those little league games when the big hitter comes back and the coach, everybody back, everybody back.
The man-child.
Driven the other way. Gardner on the run. He can't get there. And it bounces into the O's bullpen for a double to start up the 7th. Davis had 7 home runs against the Yankees last year.
This is a powerful guy. We talked about power to all fields. Those look like they're going to center. There's one to right. There's one to left. And then there's one to Fort McHenry.
It's back leg style off of the firm front side. You lean back. You see those big power hitters lean back and launch.
Wieters chases an off-speed pitch. McCann makes these trips. He certainly talks to his pitchers a lot.
Usually with a man on second base as well, as we saw with Sabathia too. Multiple signals being given now. Kuroda with a great day going here, and a man on second now with nobody out. McCann wants to make sure. It was Wieters who hit the off-speed pitch for the RBI single earlier in the game. Let's see if they try to pound him in here. That spillover pitch that Kenny likes to call. Maybe take a shot off-speed down, but at some point I'd say, you got to try to test him in on the inside corner. Kuroda's had excellent movement today as well on that particular pitch.
Another thing to notice, and one thing I saw from Jorge Posada over the years, and I just saw it from McCann, with runner in scoring position at second, but he doesn't set up until just at the very point where Kuroda's about ready to deliver the ball. Now they know where they want it to go. They just don't want the runner at second base to know where it's going.
McCann just didn't like how that set up there. It looked like they were going to take a shot in, and he set up, and then time was called. McCann did. Set up inside maybe to tip off the fact that they were trying to throw a fastball inside. So the cat and mouse game, especially with a catcher like Wieters hitting and a veteran like Davis on second base. All it takes is a little head shake from Davis on second base to tip off Wieters where the location is.
See the late setup there. Just at the very end, he put the target up.
Took a shot in and up. Just missed. Now do you go right back to splitter, off speed, or you try to double up and come right back in again?
The 1-2. Fouled away.
He went with the splitter.
It's an excellent location. Kuroda has been spot on with his stuff, all of his repertoire. Made very few mistakes all day long. Wherever McCann wants it, Kuroda has almost put it exactly there. Especially down in the zone. All of his misses have been down. Good quality low strikes all day long.
The 1-2. Serves that one into left center field. It's a base hit. Chris Davis advances to third. He'll stop right there. The throw is cut off by Johnson. So first and third, nobody out for the Orioles here in the 7th.
That one kind of stayed up a bit. That's why Wieters is able, as Michael said before, serve it into center field for a hit. Just went out and got it, went with it. And that's his second hit of the afternoon.
Yeah, both of his hits on off-speed pitches today. See the split. And this is great plate coverage. As Kenny said, it's up just enough that he can serve it over the outside, over the shortstop's head, but that was almost off the plate.
Matt Thornton getting up. So that conference broken up by Tim Timmons.
So Larry Rothschild taking the full allotment of time out there to give Thornton a few extra tosses.
And here's Nelson Cruz. And there's a strike.
Yankees and Kuroda certainly would take a ground ball double play in exchange for a run given up here. But one swing of the bat from Cruz is also a tie game.
The 0-1. Outside 1-1. David Phelps has now joined Thornton. And the 1-1 pitch. Line drive, left field. Coming on is Gardner. He's going to have the plate on a hop. Chris Davis will score. Moving to second is Wieters. It's an RBI single for Cruz, and the Yankee lead is now 4-2 here in the 7th.
You see here, I mean, this is one of the few sliders that Kuroda's left in the middle of the plate all day long. The best part about this one is that Cruz doesn't get enough lift to get it out of the ballpark. Just down enough that it ends up in the ballpark, but certainly an RBI and a different look to this game now is it's 4-2, first and second, nobody out.
And that'll bring up Lombardozzi.
Yankees are expecting the bunt here. In on the corners.
Not bunting. And the pitch is low. Good block there by McCann.
See Lombardozzi looking over to down the third baseline. That's third base coach Bobby Dickerson giving the signs.
Wieters at second. Cruz is at first. Nobody out. One run in the top of the 7th inning. Yankees lead the Orioles 4-2. And the 1-0. That one is served into left field. And Gardner with the play for the first out. They had him play beautifully. And that's going to do it. That's going to be the last pitch today for Kuroda. Joe Girardi makes his way out to the mound. And he is going to bring in a relief pitcher to face Flaherty. Kuroda will get a nice hand. He leaves with a 4-2 lead. First and second, one man out. Big spot in this game. Come on back. Well, the Orioles getting back into this. They have runners on first and second, one out. So the Yankees bring in the left-hander Matt Thornton to try to get out of this jam. This will be the third game for Thornton. 1 inning, 1 hit. No hit. 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Has not allowed a hit.
He showed good velocity in Toronto. He's always been an excellent fastball type pitcher. 94, 95 miles an hour.
And the pitch is low.
With J.J. Hardy being out with back spasms and, you know, not on the disabled list as of yet, so the Orioles can't call up an extra player. It kind of puts the Orioles at a disadvantage because they're playing shorthanded by one man. So ordinarily you might see Buck Showalter set up a pinch hitter with the lefty up there, Flaherty, who at this point of the season hasn't been hitting well at all. He came in at 0.56 and he's 0 for 2 today, but he kind of has to leave him in there to face the lefty.
One ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Runners on first and second, 1 run already in. Yankees 4, Orioles 2. Chopped slowly to second base. Roberts will flip to Thornton covering to get the out. Runners move up. So you score that 4-1. Now runners on second and third.
Probably one of the toughest plays for an inexperienced first baseman, as Kelly Johnson is at first. He moves well, probably a little too well. He's got to go to the bag here. He gets caught in nowhere man's land. And a good play by Thornton to get over there. But to me, that's what I've always seen, you know, he's breaking when Roberts is right there. You know, and that's good hustle, but the wrong move. And watch Thornton on the bag here, right in the middle, dangerous. As we saw last year, Hudson and Eric Young come up with a play like that, and Hudson ended up with a fractured ankle. So Thornton very lucky right there.
Well, that's going to do it for Thornton. They'll bring in the right-hander now with Scope due up. It's going to be David Phelps against Jonathan Scope. Come on back. So join us here on Yes. But this game's still in doubt. Runners on second and third, 2 men out. That's what Hiroki Kuroda did today. 6 and a third, 8 hits, 2 runs. Didn't walk a batter. 4 straight starts for Yankee starters without a walk and 4 strikeouts. But now, as I mentioned, David Phelps, who has struggled so far, comes in here to face Scoop. Those are the numbers, and 3 home runs in those 4 hits. And Scope takes a strike. You've got Wieters at third and Cruz at second. 2 men out. Yankees up by 2. So far, Adam Warren has really distinguished himself coming out of the pen. And Phelps, a starter by trade, has struggled just a bit, but Joe's showing a lot of faith in him, bringing him in a high leverage moment. A 1-1. 2-1.
Well, Phelps with more of a variety of breaking pitches, cutters and sliders that Joe Girardi probably felt was a better matchup here, but we've seen Adam Warren gain velocity up to 95 miles an hour out of the pen. Similar to what happened to Phil Hughes back in 2009 when he went to the bullpen and gained a lot of velocity. Phelps more of a breaking ball artist. Relies on movement, sinkers, cutters, curveballs.
The 2-1. Tapped right back to Phelps. He comes on and gets a big out and gets out of a jam. The Orioles score 1 on 3 hits, no errors, and 2 men left. At the end of 6.5 innings of play, it's the Yankees 4 and the Orioles 2. But we're going to stay right here to honor America here in the Bronx. And God Bless America will be performed by James Moy, who is in Bullets Over Broadway on Broadway. So James Moy coming up.
Thank you very much, Bob. And here we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Yankees ahead of the Baltimore Orioles by a score 4-2.
That's a big out there for David Phelps, both for his confidence and obviously for the Yankee team. Cadillac scoreboard, Yankees 4 and the Orioles 2. And Carlos Beltran will dig in. It'll be the middle of the Yankee order. And there's a strike. Each team with 8 hits, the Yankees a 4-2 lead. Popped up and out of play.
It'll be interesting, Kenny, to see how Joe Girardi pieces together the latter part of these games when the Yankees have leads, as we saw him go to Phelps, who had a nice at-bat there, made a good quality cutter to get the ground ball. Now Adam Warren's warming up. So those high leverage situations are up for grabs. We saw Dellin Betances get one of those high leverage situations the other day and kind of struggle.
Warren actually pitched yesterday. He pitched the 7th inning. A 1-2-3 inning against the Toronto Blue Jays.
You see Kelly in that situation as well. So, you know, it's going to be mix and match for Girardi. And certainly the high leverage situations late in games are up for grabs in that Yankee bullpen.
And as quickly as you could gain his trust, he could also pull back a little, and I think we saw that with Betances, who was electric the time he pitched in Houston, and when he came in Toronto and could not throw strikes, we haven't seen him since. And they didn't give him that much leash either. Took him out of the game right away and brought in David Robertson to close it out. The 2-2. Still 2-2. Nice play by Rob Thompson. Swing and a miss. Britton's done a pretty good job other than that bases loaded walk.
At one time, the Orioles were thinking he would be one of their big-time starters. He had some arm problems, had to go back to the minor leagues for a while. But now he's kind of fit into the bullpen. Another left-hander kind of fell in that category, too. Brian Mattis has been a pretty good reliever. Another lefty for the Orioles out of their pen.
Well, you can tell. I mean, they've taken to the bullpen, just pitching from the stretch. And the reason for that, obviously, is most of the time as a reliever, you're going to come in with men on base anyway, so you better be ready from the stretch. There's less that can go wrong mechanically from the stretch, so looks like a reliever now.
Two 2-0 on McCann.
The Orioles bullpen is busy again.
Count 2-1. Ryan Webb is up. They have 5 righties and 2 lefties. Two and 2.
Heavy sinker. Low to mid 90s.
Lined into center field. And a shoe top catch by Adam Jones for the second out.
Adam Jones plays shallow to begin with, and that was one of those ones where the center fielder that plays a little deeper have to play this one on a hop. Kind of reminds me of the late Paul Blair, who played not only for the Orioles, won 8 Gold Gloves as a center fielder, but spent some time with the Yankees as well, and passed away this day after Christmas this year.
Showalter will go to the bullpen. Britton pitched 2 innings and walked 1. They go to Webb.
It'll be a special moment, you know, especially for a lot of the fans that grew up watching all 4 of us play, to see us all together once again. I look forward to seeing them all the time. I've seen Jorge in spring training, Andy in spring training in Houston, and Mo in Panama, but it'll be good to get us all together.
Those are the words of the captain, Derek Jeter, and prior to the ball game today, there they are, the core 4. Many great years together with the Yankees, and as Derek said, a lot of fans grew up watching him and their accomplishments in the Yankee uniform, and they were right on the corner with their pitches.
Here's Soriano against Webb.
Yeah, but they were up short, though. They didn't get on the mound. They got up short. That was a low degree of difficulty, first pitch.
Ryan Webb was signed by the Orioles as a free agent. This is his 3rd appearance of the year, as he gets to face Alfonso Soriano with 2 outs and nobody on here in the bottom of the 7th.
0-2. Swing and a miss. So Webb comes on to strike out Soriano. The Yankees go down in order against 2 Orioles pitchers. We go to the 8th inning, 4-2 Yanks. Yankees are up 4-2. Kuroda gave the Yankees 6 1/3. Ellsbury and Solarte each with an RBI single. Wieters and Cruz each with an RBI single. So we go to the 8th inning, and the Yankees will go to Adam Warren. A lot of the crowd is thinned out despite it being a close game. But obviously somewhat chilly. Some brave-hearted still remain on the Hyundai scoreboard. Yankees 4 and the Orioles 2. And Adam Warren will face the top of the order. Lowe, Markakis, and Jones. It was a 4-way battle for the 5th spot in spring training. Warren, Phelps, and Nuno. And then Michael Pineda, who ended up winning that spot. And all of them pitched well. And the good thing is the 3 guys that didn't get the 5th spot went to the bullpen, and they're in the big leagues. Count 1-1.
Well, one thing we've seen from Adam Warren is we've seen 2 fastballs at 92. He's been able to elevate as high as 95. And Larry Rothschild says because coming out of the bullpen, he knows he's got maybe 1-2 innings. Now, last year he did a great job as a long man out of the bullpen. And sometimes when you're the long man out of the bullpen, you're like the Maytag repairman. If the starters are pitching well, you don't get an opportunity to work very often.
Now, we don't see Sean Kelly, so the guess has to be that Robertson probably not available today because he's pitched 3 out of the last 4 games. That's the only thing I could figure because the 8th inning has been Kelly's inning. So it looks like Kelly would close. And Warren walks David Lowe.
Leadoff walks will send the pitching coach scurrying for the bullpen phone.
You got the middle of the order going to show up pretty soon here.
Now Nuno will throw. A strike to Markakis.
Certainly could see Nuno matching up with Chris Davis in this inning. So I'm sure that's what Gary Tuck, the bullpen coach, is telling him. That's the lineup. That's your guy. Get ready.
Fly ball, center field. Ellsbury comes on to make the play for the first out.
Keep it off the fat part of the bat. That one's off the end. It's got a high, lazy fly ball.
One away, and here's Adam Jones. Adam is 1 for 3 so far this afternoon. Yankees lead 4-2, top of the 8th inning. Fouled off right side.
I was talking about Paul Blair last night. He did pass away this winter, unfortunately. And great center fielder for the Baltimore Orioles. Now, Brian Roberts at second is the second player that joined the Yankees after playing 1,000 games for the Orioles. Blair was the other one. Blair played 1,700 games for Baltimore before he made his Yankees debut in 1977.
Fouled that one back. Got away with one there.
Yeah, Jones had a good swing at that one. That was his best swing of the day. Sometimes the catcher will rush out there and say, don't throw it there again.
0-2.
Yep, right there. When a hitter like Jones is hot, he's not going to miss that. That's going to get hit very hard.
Ooh. 94 missed outside.
Good pitch. This is where you want to do it 0-2. If you're going to miss off. You see McCann frame that very well. Tries to steal a strike right here, but this is clearly off the plate. As Paul O'Neill would say, that's in the other batter's box.
McCann at conference. And the 1-2. Nuno's ready. The 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. 95 miles an hour right by Adam Jones.
Now that's what I was talking about. Every once in a while, you saw the first couple were 92, and as the at-bat went along, that fastball got a little harder, a little faster. And this one, Jones can't catch up with it. This is kind of in his hitting zone. He likes the ball down. And right on by.
That was low heat, too.
It's almost as if he said, well, I can add a little more here just to get it by you. Powerful strikeout.
It's interesting that Girardi will let Warren face Davis here with Nuno ready to go.
The only thing I could figure, David, is he did not want Davis facing Warren as the go-ahead runner. Warren makes a mistake here. It's a tie game. He's faced Warren twice, Davis has, and he has 2 hits in his career.
I would agree with you, Michael. Maybe as the go-ahead run here at Yankee Stadium, Nuno would face Davis.
Well, maybe the fact that he got Jones out. Just carry on, young man.
He saw that 95 too,
yeah.
miles an hour on the fastball. Liked what he saw.
One and two.
Mentioned Davis is a good low ball hitter. Every once in a while, you throw one up around the letters, he'll chase it. But you got to have something on it. It can't be a mediocre pitch.
Had a real good swing at that last fastball.
Yeah, he did.
Right down the middle.
Strike 3, down looking. Nice pitching by Adam Warren. He survives the leadoff walk. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Yankees are up 4-2. You and Coney can come by if you'd like. Coney was a guest last week, or earlier this week. No, last week. Today's Monday.
Can I take a rain check on that?
Okay. It might be raining. Brian Roberts takes a strike from Ryan Webb. The Hyundai scoreboard 4-2. The Yankees lead. And another strike 0-2. So Roberts playing against his longtime team, 0 for 2 with a walk. How about this? This is the heart of the Yankee order, by the way. Because coming into this game, 7, 8, 9 hitters in the Yankee order hitting .338. And today they have 4 walks, a hit, and 2 RBIs.
And a run scored.
There's Sean Kelly, so he'll close. Tap back to Webb. 1 away. So 1 down, that's going to bring up Kelly Johnson. Johnson walked with the bases loaded in the 5th inning against the lefty Britton. So he's walked twice and struck out. 1-0.
Webb kind of reminds me of Darren O'Day that the Orioles have had in their bullpen for the last few years, and O'Day has been very successful, particularly against the right-handed hitters. Same sort of slinging type motion and that hard sinker.
Yeah, keeps the ball down really well.
Same sort of setup on the mound too.
Maybe not quite as low in his release point as O'Day, but same type of action. What all general managers are looking for nowadays. All you hear about is ground balls and strikeouts. Used to be fly balls and strikeouts, a la Jim Palmer and some of the great Orioles pitchers of the day, back in the day. Now it's ground ball strikeouts. Keep the ball down, keep it on the ground, and get some swing and misses.
Well, the announced crowd here at the stadium, 48,142. They're saying it's a sellout for the home opener. Three-two. Strike three, right down the middle. Johnson down looking.
All the other pitches have kind of been down. This one is up and slings back over the plate. A little different angle for Kelly Johnson to look at, and he was frozen. I like to call that an O'Hare type pitch, changing planes.
Here's Yankees Solarte.
No direct flights.
No. Yeah, sometimes you got to go the indirect route, although don't like to do it.
Solarte fouls it back. 672 games in the minors, and here he is in the starting lineup on the Yankees home opener. Pretty heady stuff, and he's handled it well. Made some good plays in the field. Picked up another hit. Ribby, run scored. Making the Yankees' decision to keep him and designate for assignment Eduardo Nunez, a very good decision up to this point.
Good off-speed pitch for the swing and a miss.
Well, it's obviously early, first week of the season, but you can't get this guy out of the lineup right now.
And although they didn't want to lose Teixeira, it did solve the problem. How do you keep him in the lineup? Because you just moved Kelly over to first base.
You know, one thing, I remember my cousin Glenn, or Doc Rivers, as people know him best, and he says a player in the NBA, when you first come in the league, your first 10 to 20 games, everybody figures out what you can do and what you can't do. The same thing kind of applies in baseball. Everybody's watching the video on Solarte to see what he can do.
They can do that. Hit a deep drive to right field. Markakis back on the track at the wall. He makes the play for the final out of the inning. So flirting with a home run, but the wind said, Gonna be tough today. We go to the ninth for the O's, down by 2. Final home opener started with a nice hand as he was introduced in the starting lineup, and he caught the first pitch, one of them from Mariano Rivera. The core 4 back together again. Roll call, he acknowledged them, and then he almost hit one out. Almost got thrown out trying to stretch it into a double, but he did get a double, and then quickly thereafter he scored a run. So an eventful home opener for Derek Jeter, and he's 3 outs away from putting a win next to his name on the home opener. And the guy who's come in to get the 3 outs, Sean Kelly. As David Robertson, having pitched in 3 of the last 4 games, obviously not available. Ichiro Suzuki will take over for Beltran in right field. And Matt Wieters will lead off against Kelly. Pitch outside, 1-0. The shift is on. 3 infielders on the right side. Only Jeter on the left. Sean Kelly has never recorded a save in his career. He's 2 outs away from one as that one is lofted to center field. Ellsbury there, 1 down.
As Michael mentioned, Ichiro now playing right field. This is probably the best defensive outfield that you've seen in a long time for the Yankees in terms of speed, throwing ability.
And play the ball correctly. Just cover a lot of ground.
Cruz with 2 hits today. That's a 1-1 count. 2 singles, round out an RBI for Cruz. Cruz suspended for the final 50 games of the regular season last year because of his involvement in the biogenesis situation. And as Kenny said, signs with the team, plays in a offense-friendly ballpark and put up big numbers and put the suspension behind you, then maybe sign a long-term deal. So a 1-year deal with the O's. 2-2.
A 1-year deal at low money, if you ask me, because he turned down the qualifying offer of what, $14 million from Texas?
$14 million. He took $8 million from the O's.
Yeah.
A lot of guys are rethinking that. Steven Drew turned down a qualifying offer from the Red Sox, and he's still waiting for a job.
Certainly something that will be looked at in the next collective bargaining agreement for sure.
I guarantee you.
2-2. Just missed.
One thing that you don't need to open up the agreement for, or certainly it's easier to open it up, was more stringent penalties for PEDs, as those were changed over the offseason.
Popped up. Brian Roberts. Yankees 1 out away. Hey, tomorrow afternoon, remember that, tomorrow afternoon, the Yankees and the Orioles battle it out in Game 2 right here at the stadium. Coverage on Yes begins at 12:30 with the Tri-State 4 pregame. Then Wednesday night, the series finale. The coverage starts at 6 with Audi batting practice today, only on Yes. Here's Steve Lombardozzi. Grounded to first. Backhanded nicely by Johnson. Flips to Kelly, and the Yankees win 4-2. So Sean Kelly picks up his first career save. Kelly Johnson, a novice at first, makes a nice play on the final out, and Derek Jeter, in his final home opener, he does what he wants to do as the Yankees win this one 4-2, and they go over 500 for the season. Let's take a look at that last out.
Nice play once again over at first for Kelly Johnson, who hasn't had much experience at that position. Now the accurate flip, and the ball game is over. Lombardozzi out by quite a few steps.
And the Yankees finish another day at the office as Joe Girardi pushed all the right buttons using 4 relievers out of the pen: Thornton, Phelps, Warren, and Kelly in relief of Hiroki Kuroda. And Hiroki picks up his first victory of the season and continues his domination here in the Bronx. Now let's go down to the field where Meredith Marakovitz is with the captain. Meredith?
Derek, your leadoff double in the 5th started things off, but you were really able to get to Ubaldo Jimenez in that inning. What was he doing differently that you guys picked up on?
I don't know. He mixes it up pretty good. He never throws the ball straight. He kept us off balance. I think that inning, he left a couple balls up we were able to take advantage of.
You think that one was out off the bat?
I did. I hit it pretty good, and then it looked like it was going to blow foul. Next thing you know, the left fielder has it, so I had to pick up the pace there a little bit.
I talked to you yesterday about the starting pitcher. Again, Hiroki Kuroda going out there and having a solid outing. Is that just what you come to expect with this guy now?
Yeah, I mean, Hero, he's a guy we like to see out there. He knows how to pitch. Even when he has some things that aren't working, he'll think of something and make something up. So he's a guy that throws a lot of strikes. He keeps the hitters off balance, and he did exactly what we needed him to.
What was this afternoon like for you? Final home opener here at the stadium. The core 4 out on the field earlier. A nice reception from Yankees fans. Take me through it all.
It was fun. It was fun to have us all there on the field. It's been a while since we've done it, especially here at Yankee Stadium. Those guys are like brothers to me. I thought it was a great ceremony there to honor Mo and Andy and Jorge. And then opening day, I was anxious. I was excited. I was nervous. Like I said before, the season never seems to officially begin until you play your home opener.
Derek, thanks for the time and congratulations on the win.
Well, thank you, Meredith. Yeah, Derek Jeter can still get nervous. He's closing in on 40 years and 20 years in the big leagues, and he still gets nervous. But the nerves are out now as the Yankees win this one 4-2. The core four, a lot of wins those guys seen. Derek involved in one more. We'll be back.